As you all well know, hopefully, at Straight Talk, we are here to try and save you time and sanity.
And that really comes into play when there are changes in the way we do things, especially for folks in social media. As all of you probably know by now, there is a wonderful change coming across the Facebook landscape. It is known lovingly by all as
Facebook timeline.
Yay! Okay, not everybody is celebrating this. In case you don't know, all co-op business pages, not business pages in general, that are on Facebook have to convert to Facebook timeline by March 30th. You basically have a month. Well, now you have less than 2 weeks. So we thought that we would share some tips that we had learned when we were converting Straight Talk's page on Facebook, facebook.com/coopnation. Hopefully this webinar will help. And if you have learned things of your own along the way, please share your comments, other pages you've seen that are really good to use as an example, in the comments section on this podcast. Thank you guys so much.
Good luck.
Facebook timeline is one of those changes that we're just going to have to get used to. It's been kind of interesting for us at Straight Talk, but Facebook, as we know, is evolving and we have to learn to adapt because that's where our members are. There are 5 main changes that all co-ops that have business pages on Facebook have to make by March 30th, 2012. It's not much time. The first thing is a cover image. This is a new item you will have to add. If you do not add it, there will just be an empty space there. You also will see your tabs moving. The concept of a timeline is something we're going to introduce. You'll be able to pin posts, highlight posts. That's a new option. And the administration panel has changed just a little bit. We'll tell you a bit about that. So first thing, I want to talk about your cover image and your profile picture. Here are a couple general examples, kind of fun. This is Toyota. It has nothing to do with the car really, it's just the joy of driving, so it's a concept that they're sharing. Coca-Cola has been getting a lot of acclaim for the way they accepted timeline. Each one of these images, by the way, that look like bubbles rising up, there's a story behind each image and people have commented on them in the past. I can see Coca-Cola updating those in the future. Here are our friends at Cabot Creamery in Vermont. They went with cows. I mean, they're a dairy, cheese company. That's what they do. They're cooperative there, and so they embraced that image. Here is the U.S. Army, very powerful image that they decided to use. I thought that was a really good example of using timeline well. Now, I know we're all electric cooperatives, so we want to see utility examples. This is Kissimmee Utility Authority. They're not a co-op, but I really love this image. I think it's nice. Again, we're talking about powerful images. Here is one from our friends at Singing River Electric. They actually went old school. They went back to an image from their history, and then you'll see their profile picture is an image of the present. So that's kind of a nice juxtaposition there. Here is White River Valley Electric in Missouri, hooked on education. If you'll notice here, Willie is fishing and his hook is actually in the green ball logo in the profile picture, so they connected the 2 images there. Here's one from Broad River Electric in South Carolina and North Carolina. They decided to emphasize education, which is nice. Clearwater Power, they actually pulled a bunch of different images there and then have their Touchstone Energy Cooperative logo in the bottom right corner, which is nice. If you want to, again, you have the option of putting a picture of your headquarters there. This is Lorraine Medina in Ohio. And you can always decide what you want to emphasize. Here we have Tri-County Electric showing off the power of community, which is their big slogan there. And of course, our friends at RE Magazine, they went with a really strong image. They'll be changing this image when they have different issues, feature stories in the magazine, but I really love this shot. I think there's a lot of power there, and it'll help them emphasize stories they think are important. There are a couple rules, things to think about when you're changing your cover profile and your profile, your photo. So the cover profile needs to be 850 pixels by 315 pixels. I love this image. I found this actually on a blog talking about your personal conversion to timeline, but I think it's apropos for us as well. The profile photo needs to be 125 pixels by 125 pixels, so it's a perfect square. And there's going to be a little bit of an offset where your profile picture is on your cover photo. If you want them to mimic each other or be part of the same image, it's important to know that and to know those sizes. Now there are a few ways you can do this, but you need to remember You cannot use the cover photo as a call to action. Facebook has these rules put in. You cannot have contact info there, and there can be no pricing information there. Keep that in mind. Now, this is what we did for Straight Talk. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/coopnation, and we created this simple image in Photoshop. I wanted to emphasize a few things, mainly you, the faces of you, and when we got to interact with you in the past. So that's why you'll see some different Polaroid shots, and we'll be changing the images in those Polaroids throughout the year. We were able to add this picture to our timeline profile. By going to the bottom right corner of this section, you'll see the drop-down menu for change cover, and you can choose from photos that you already have or upload a new photo. The same options appear under Edit Profile Photo. And this is the final product. We think it turned out pretty well. Now, if you don't want to actually do this yourself and take the measurements that I showed you earlier, there are a few tools that I've heard work well. I have not worked with these personally, but they were on a couple blogs I read. TimelineCoverBanner.com is a free way to do this, and they'll help you make the photo, your cover photo and your profile look the same. Also, the site canvas.com, also called Cover Canvas. That's another way. They're made for personal timeline pages, but could work well for your business timeline page. The next thing I want to talk about is tabs and how those have changed. We used to have these wonderful welcome tabs. Here's an example from Basin Electric. Here's Cornbelt Energies. They were wonderful. You were able to control your members' experience with the page. When they first came to your page, they would see a welcome tab. This is what Straight Talk used to have. We loved it. We were encouraging people to like us and had a lot of fun with the images there. You could have links. Some people had videos. That's gone. So you'll see folks like Electric Consumer had a great tab here. Well, tabs are still around, but they've moved from the left side of the page under your profile picture. Now they've moved to directly under your cover photo and your small profile image. Here's an example of Piedmont Electric in North Carolina. They decided to adapt fairly well, I think. They have a tab here. You'll see it's circled. It's the Show Us Your Power contest. And they have a tab that has a video that plays. You can see their linemen dancing. And then they were asking people to submit their own videos for a contest. This is the bottom portion of this tab. Now, if you already have tabs, if you had a welcome tab, at Straight Talk, we had a YouTube video channel. That is still there. Most of those are already working on timeline. If not, they are going to be converted quickly. So you shouldn't have to worry about creating a new tab, but if you did not have tabs in the past, they are really important now. And we decided, after seeing what Piedmont Electric did with their tab, we decided to go to lujure.com, Lujure.com, and they offer one free tab. And once you log in and attach it to Facebook, tell it where you want the tab to go. We attached it to our Straight Talk page. You're able to drag different options in there. If you use Vimeo or if you use video from YouTube, you can drag either one of those options in. You'll see we dragged our welcome video telling people what Straight Talk is. You can drag graphics in. That's a graphic up top where I say, are you an electric co-op communicator? Get to know Straight Talk. You can drag in text boxes. You can bring in like boxes, which I think is fun. There are a lot of things you can do with this, including contact information, maps for where you're located if you want to do that. So I really liked this. It seems to be working well for us. This is the final product. Now, you also want to not only have tabs available, but you want to customize the image that you see with the tabs. Here are some examples I like. This is from a customer service area, but I really like the way they made their tabs all look the same. They have the words on the side. It has a cool look and feel. There are a few things to remember with your page tab images. They need to be a JPEG, GIF, or PNG file, and the size is 111 by 74 pixels. Now, don't worry, Facebook will resize these as needed, but it's still good to keep that in mind when you're creating the images. Here are examples of what we've got on Co-op Nation for Straight Talk's page. You'll see the YouTube and the podcast image, and then the pictures of the Megans and About Us. Those are the two images the tab images that I customized. If you pull down your menu for your tabs, we only have 4, so that's why you don't see anything in the boxes below. But once you click that arrow to be able to see all of your boxes, you'll have an editing option on top of each tab. You're able to edit the settings there. Once you click Edit Settings, you'll see Custom Tab Image and Change. This is also where you can change the name that appears under the Custom tab, by the way. But if you're editing the image, click Change. You'll see the image that's currently there. Click Change again, and you'll be able to upload a replacement image by simply browsing and finding your image.
I'm Courtney Lammy, and I work here in the Media and Public Relations Department at NRECA. I help manage the Our Energy, Our Future website and social media campaign. Electric co-ops have a rich history, and that's why I like Facebook Timeline as a tool for co-ops. It allows us to tell our story in a different way and in an engaging way. Some people who are doing a great job with this, companies and organizations, are the Olympic Games, Ben & Jerry's, Coca-Cola, and you can actually go to their pages and look and get ideas for new ways to tell our story.
Thanks, Courtney.
The New York Times does the same thing. You can see they went back in time to Lincoln's assassination and showed how they covered that, some major world events. And not only that, but they talked about technology and how things had evolved over time. You'll see here wireless transmission began. And that was a big deal for the newspaper and for the rest of the world at that point. So when we were adding milestones to Straight Talk, it was pretty easy to do. You get onto the bottom of your page where you'll see we have circled in red milestones. It's where you would normally add your status update. The first thing they'll ask you before you can add any milestones, they want you to talk about when you were founded. The default setting is when you joined Facebook, but they really want to add some more information there. So the first thing you'll have to do is add the year that you were founded, and you can change it from founded to launched, created. You have a couple options there. So what we did was we launched Straight Talk. It was then called Power Kit. We launched it as a digital edition. I found information about that back in 2004, and we can edit that if we find some earlier uses on digital, but we decided to show a picture of what Power Kit used to be and how we changed at that point to being online and available on cooperative.com. After you have put in your founding information, you're able to add your milestones, which is what we're really talking about right now. When you click milestone, you'll be able to say an event, what that milestone is. If you want, you can tag it with a location. You'll put in the date, you can add the year, then it'll ask for you to add the month, and then you can add an actual day. And you'll have a storyline, some information you want to share, the actual story of that milestone. And then you can choose from photos that you already have on your computer or upload a new photo there for that milestone. Pins and highlights is another thing that's happened that's kind of new and could be powerful tools for you as a Facebook administrator. To do this, you'll have some sort of a post and you want to pin it to the top of your page. So whenever anyone comes to your page, they'll see it first thing. If you will hover over the top right portion of the post, you'll see the option to edit or remove. Just click on that button and you will see a couple different options. You can change the date of a post, add a location, you can hide this post from the page, delete it, or you can pin it to the top. That's the very first option there. If you select pin to top, then you will see it looks like a bookmark that is placed on the page, on the post, and that will stay at the top left portion of your page for a good long while. If you want to remove that, just click the edit button again and unpin from top. Here's an example. Singing River Electric has something pinned to the top of their page. Just keep this in mind. It will stay pinned for 7 days, and then it will revert to its normal place in your timeline. You can also highlight a post. Where you see the edit button, there's also a star. If you were to click that star, then it will spread that post across both sections of the timeline. Normally the timeline is 2 columns and the posts are kind of catty-cornered one over the other depending on time, but this really helps you highlight a post and spreads it across your entire profile. The final change I wanted to talk about is the administration panel. This has changed a bit. It's just changed around where it is. Actually, some of your members will be able to see more information about you now with this new admin panel. Instead of being on the left, the admin panel access is now at the top right of your timeline. Once you click that, it will pull down, and if you want to hide that again, you have the option top right of the page and you're fine. Now you'll see your instant notifications, any new likes that you have. You'll get a little snapshot of your insights, and people now have the option to message you, and just like they do for your personal Facebook page. So you'll see the messages at the top right portion of your page. If you were to want to edit the page, change your settings, security settings, as you've done in the past, go to Manage and Edit Page. And this is going to look familiar. This is the way it used to be in the past. So this is where you change your posting ability, your post visibility, whether or not you want people to post on your page, and thank goodness there are your full insights. This is what you use for your board reports to get an idea of what's going on with your page, how well you're doing. This is where all of that information has moved in Facebook Timeline. Now, we learned a lot of this information from a couple online blogs and reports. Facebook, of course, has a lot of great information at facebook.com/about/pages, but we also loved a story from TechCrunch.com and EdelmanDigital.com. These are two stories that we think really helped us learn how to adjust. These links are in the podcast description, so you don't have to write them down. You can click on the links in the podcast description, which is under this video, and you'll be ready to go. We hope this video has been helpful. We were going to do a webinar, but thought, hey, maybe a podcast would be able to reach all of you faster and be more effective. Let us know what you think about this. If you'd like to learn more about how electric cooperatives are engaging and connecting with their members through social media, go to cooperative.com/social media. And of course, we'd love to connect with you on Facebook to find out the latest information from Straight Talk and to give us your feedback for the future. Go to facebook.com/coopnation. And as always, we love to get your feedback and ideas for what we can do to save you time and sanity. Send your ideas to straighttalk@nreca.coop. Thank you to everyone, and we hope you have an easy time adjusting to Facebook Timeline.